You shut up. Welcome to the Bropolar Disorder Pod. Don't do it. You've already made this an absolute dumpster fire already tonight.
Dude, I blacked out so good.
You did. That was our first run, and it was actually going great.
Yeah, but then I sidewinder missiled it.
Then you couldn't think of a word you had just said.
But it was still good.
You're a disaster. You've turned this into an absolute disaster.
It did. It went like, hey,
we're 3 hours late. It made me eat spaghetti because he couldn't handle recording on an empty stomach.
I had to feed my kids.
We were here for 2 hours before anybody showed up. We were ready to go. We also had a lot of technical difficulties today.
Yeah, so.
Anyway.
No, it was going good. And then Chad had this whole thing planned out where he was going to be like, he gives me like vague, like, hey, I think we should do this, this, and this. And then we keep it vague so it's all natural.
Right, but we're somewhat organized so that we can keep flowing.
But then like right at the start, I brought up this talking fish that I follow on Instagram that gives me all my news because it reports from Bikini Bottom. But it's real world news.
It's the SpongeBob fish that reads real world news.
It doesn't sound so bad when he does it.
It actually turns really dark subjects and makes them hard not to laugh at.
But yeah, so today, like they found that Boeing whistleblower, he was an inspector at the like South Carolina plant that makes like Boeing parts, and he had reported that 1 in 4 of the oxygen masks in the case of an accident or even an emergency in air wouldn't even work. I mean, I'm sorry, only 1 in 4 would work.
Only one, so 25% of the cabin would actually make it to the ground.
Yeah, because the rest would not get oxygen. And he said that's why they're having a lot of these problems is because he'd go inspect these factories and he'd find like 300 problems in his inspection. And then he'd report that. And then they'd send someone higher than him and they'd say, oh, those guys fixed their act.
Right.
They just found him dead in his truck outside of a motel from a, I'm not going to say it wasn't, but quote unquote self-inflicted wound. But so that's what wrecked our whole opening
So he's dead.
And that's not even why I blacked out. Why I blacked out is because then my arm sat on the lights.
You turned our podcast into a nightclub.
I had these little lights that like make.
No, don't do it now. We just got the lights. What is? We just got them back where we want them.
I had to show him like what happened. So my elbow hit that and it turned him bright. And you're like,
it made us look like we were underwater.
What'd you do? It looks like a club.
Yeah, it was changing colors and it was blue. And
so I got to laugh
purple.
and I blacked out.
So. You did. You can see it on your face too.
I bet. I'm sweating
a little bit.
Yeah. So
it's hotter in here now.
It is. I can feel it.
So the guy, they found him in his truck.
Yeah, it's sad actually. Gone. So I don't want to laugh during.
No, we're not. I don't think we're laughing at that at all.
Yeah, I'm only laughing because I absolutely wrecked our...
You destroyed...
Or 3 hours late to the podcast.
Some might argue you're 3 hours
Yeah, I would argue we are because we do this together.
Nick's a very army of one type of person.
Oh, man. So what do you think?
Well, you can't drop that literal. You can't say that a talking fish told you that this Boeing guy was found in his truck and be like, well, let's talk about something else.
I'm not talking to a fish. You make it sound like some like mystical fish is telling me this. It's an Instagram video.
Creative Instagram. That's cool. But
yeah, I thought it was really
the fact remains, this guy was...
found dead. He was a whistleblower. He just gave his deposition to Boeing's lawyers.
How long was he doing? Was he like calling Boeing out on this? We're targets, by the way.
No.
By talking
it's national
about this?
news. It was on BBC, so.
Okay.
But yeah, so.
We're not going to be able to fly anywhere. This comes with consequences.
It's a good thing we're going to Destin this year.
What are you telling them where we're going?
Because now we're driving. They're going to have to take us out on the road.
Statistically, you're more likely to die on the way to the airport.
Great Dumb and Dumber quote. But we are going to Destin this year, though.
We are. And I live at doxing ourselves. So, okay, let's actually. So, how long? He was doing this for like 30 years, you said?
I don't know how long he was an inspector there. He was an inspector there for a long time, though. He was an older gentleman. Is
there anybody else that can corroborate or is he the only inspector?
No. I mean, a lot of people can corroborate his story. That's why he was giving legal depositions.
They're just not corroborating it so that they cannot wind up.
He was just doing his legal deposition with Boeing's lawyers.
And who did he tell though? How did this leak?
Because I think the government's investigating why Boeing's having so many issues in the air. I mean, they had that door fall off.
I mean, yeah, okay. Is there an ongoing court case right now?
Yeah,
obviously, if there's a deposition, but
he was one of the whistleblowers.
It was made like public knowledge that he was calling Boeing out for suffocating people on the way down.
Yeah, I think he was really calling them out because they're using cheap parts now. And he's saying, hey, your planes are no longer as airworthy as you guys are making them sound. And, maybe it was self-inflicted, maybe it wasn't, but it's bad timing either way for Boeing. A really sad story for him.
Did the fish call Boeing the chum bucket at any point in time?
That would have been money. But yeah, if you haven't found it, it's like real talking fish.
Well, I mean, let's be real here, though. If you're going to fly anywhere, what option do you have? Boeing or Airbus, right? I mean, pretty much if you're going with a major airline. Has Airbus had any issues?
Well, you got to think too, because if there are issues where they have to invest, they would have to ground so many flights. It
would be like COVID again when nobody was flying. Or I mean, I'm not going to say 9/11, but
but after 9/11 though, you could see the flight maps. Where they just stopped flying. Everything
it would just go silent until they could get their act together, which is impossible.
Yeah,
the amount of time and money lost, not just on the flights, but just business in itself.
I just can't stop thinking about putting my elbow on that light.
You
got so mad.
You're just give me the controller.
I like having it though.
Why you can't be trusted with it.
I just can't put my elbow on it.
But I'm not saying what you shouldn't do. I'm saying that I think you might do it again.
I'll put it there. That's safe. So from there, we don't really have a transition because I did torpedo.
You blew it up. You dumpster fired the whole thing, and that's why I was so mad. I hope you black out. I hope you black.
Oh man, I'm seeing stars again.
I'm not even gonna call Sky to give you a sternum rub tonight.
Well, then, so we've been playing PGA, and so all weekend.
None of this is what I wanted to talk about.
I'm close. Okay, we gotta simmer down.
Nick, I said let's talk about these few topics and let's just riff off of that.
I know, but
Nick just decided he's got his own open.
I'm trying to give you some perspective. So when I have a blackout,
you're tying them together now.
No, when I have a blackout, it kind of is like a domino effect. I feel more prone to more blackouts.
Oh, I've got you on the ropes. Trust me. I know it.
I'm close.
It's coming tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
All weekend long, though, we were playing PGA together. Getting ready for the...
notoriously hates sports games.
Yeah, and especially ones that frustrating, like PGA's game is frustrating.
Well, because it was PGA 2K23. I've found that the 2K's sports, the experience is typically harder. The same as for NBA 2K. It's not an easy game to just jump into and have fun with. You're
but my guy, it was
bigger and McCracken.
Yeah, I named him Bigger and McCracken, but it was very realistic because my guy would be hitting a 350-yard bomb, and then next hole I go to do it, and something would happen, and it's only me it happens to, but he would top it, and then he would go 40 yards.
You duff it quite a bit,
and the sound it makes is so insulting. It's like.
It does. It literally.
And then
gives
Chad,
you the top sound.
anytime he knows I'm angry, he just has to turn to the side, start laughing, which then causes me to laugh, which then causes me, and then I blacked out 3 times during that. So now I've just been prone to these. So anyways,
yeah, you're not. I wouldn't say you're not good at sports games because it's not that way. Well, when you went. Had an albatross and 4 eagles, all chip-ins, all from 100
I was
yards
making
plus.
these crazy shots, and then but if I either make crazy shots for like, would be a Sports Center top 10 any day of the year.
Yeah.
But then I would also make a not top 10.
Very Happy Gilmore.
Hit a house or something.
Very much.
So, but yeah, so this is so great because Chad spoke none of these things before.
None of these things. I've not been prepared for any of this. And this
is a good look at our life.
Yeah, it is a good look at our life because I want to talk about serious stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't.
I can.
On the podcast, you can.
I can talk about real stuff.
Nick does flip a switch.
All right, so on the podcast, the last couple episodes, we've had kind of like an inverse of how we are in life. Like, I've been doing most of the research, so I've been sounding a little bit more serious, and then you've been a lot more goofy. But in real life, like, we're both pretty goofy, but you're a little bit more serious of a person, and I'm kind of like this, like, sidewinder out of nowhere,
right,
saying random stuff that makes people laugh.
Well, it's because you're a big researcher.
Mm-hmm. And I had fun with it.
Right, and you really enjoy getting into the nuts and bolts of something.
Yeah.
Digging into a topic and finding all the lore behind it or all the story or how things came to be.
Yeah.
So that really set it up really nice for us because
but now you're in charge.
And so well, back up. You're just doing this again. Give me a second. Now you've moved on to the next thing, and I haven't even finished.
All right, all right, you go.
Pump.
We need like a light system.
No, we don't. We have a light system. Give me the remote. Nick,
right here, just take it because I probably will.
Give me the remote.
Nice catch.
In real life. I'm trying to talk about something and you'll just come out of left field with something. And I'm trying to I'll be like, oh, Nick, what do you think we should do?
Yeah, but it's like a roller coaster. Like I like to take it like you'll have a real serious line of like dialogue and then I'll just take it like to a completely different place that I feel is humorous and I'll get you to laugh. But then we'll talk about it again seriously. But then you're kind of messed up too because now you can't just be straight serious because you're still thinking.
And now I have to lean into whatever world you've taken us to.
And you've been going through a lot, so you've been a little bit more serious because.
Oh, is that right?
You've been going through a lot, and so
please indulge.
No,
what have I been going through, Nick?
So you've been going through some stuff, and then I will talk about it, and then I'll talk serious with you, but then I'll have to be like, all right, we gotta cut some of this tension. And then bam, hit you with something. And then, yeah. We're already like almost 15 minutes in. We haven't talked about any of the things that you wanted to talk about. So let's just take this opportunity to like time out, reset. Let's get you onto some of your things you wanted to speak about. You look so mad.
So arrogant what you just did to me. Time out. Let's let Chad talk. He had some important things to talk. Now none of what I have is going to be good.
We need a conch shell, like in Lord of the Flies, where you get to talk when you hold it.
Piggy?
Wow.
I didn't say. Don't you just
some of us are a little bit leaner than the others.
Don't self-associate yourself with. I just said one character from a book.
You just chose Piggy. Thanks.
No, he's the one that gets crushed.
I love how you can't handle it now that you're not the one who gets to just.
I want a flamethrower right now. It would give me great pleasure to destroy everything that we have in.
Oh man.
Man, I hate this podcast. I hate that I never know what's coming. We do have a great topic today, actually.
That's what I said. Like, give you a chance. Let's get into it.
Don't need the intro. Don't need any of that stuff. So
it's only funny to me.
We'll save all that. It was relevant. Actually worked really well, Nick.
Dude,
we actually had a great story
Let's just go into it. We're only 15 minutes in. Let's just get into it.
You made it sound like we needed to jump onto the topic. Like,
no, I'm saying let's go into the things you wanted to talk about.
Who is this person? The first couple episodes, you were kind and like I was, like chiming in, and now you're just throwing this
polar.
It's not okay. He wants to black out. Nick's a glutton for punishment.
Oh my gosh.
Do you get a high from that?
Dude,
does it really?
I'm probably gross right now.
Is it kind of like getting like anesthesia?
No, you do like if I get to that line and don't black out, it's euphoric. But if I black out, it's not fun. It is a terrible experience.
So you have to ride the lightning?
It's hard though because like I'm the whole time I'm thinking like don't black out, and there's like little techniques like you cross your feet and bring your feet up to your ankles.
I can imagine that you telling yourself don't black out probably makes you laugh.
It does make it worse
harder.
sometimes, but that's why the laughing part's the hardest because it's still funny to me. Coughing sucks because like you can't help it. Like when I'm sick or like get bronchitis or something, then I can't stop coughing, but it's controllable.
Right.
Laughing sometimes is not as controllable
because you do the like
I'm probably breathing the mic so heavy now because I can't stop.
It's like like the Swiss balls.
No,
no, like an exercise ball, like the giant.
You're talking about like IKEA's like Swedish meatball.
Why would I be talking?
It's not even the same country either. That's
why would I be talking about a meatball?
That's all I could think of was the IKEA Swedish meatball.
You ruined the picture I was trying to paint here. When you let the air out, that's what you sound like when you're laughing. Everybody, this is when you let the air out of a balloon or something. That's Nick.
Okay, I'm gonna die. We gotta get to our. We're going to Destin.
Actually, it is relevant. Thank Nick. Actually, you did.
We just found out we're gonna go to Destin this summer.
That's right. That's right.
Big family trip. We're gonna go to Destin.
But every year we usually do a fishing charter.
Yeah, last couple have been kind of rough.
Really rough. Last one wasn't too bad.
It was
2 years.
Remember that
ago.
was the first one. Logan came on. That's my oldest. That's my son. He's I think was he 10 last time? Yeah.
Yeah. He got seasick right away.
But he champed it out. Remember he'd be seasick and then we'd catch
give him
fish and then he'd run out and catch a fish. And
I was
going to
give him a ton of credit because, oh man, I remember when I took him down in the bathroom because they're like you have to go down into the cabin.
It's like a steep stairwell. But
we're really rocking.
Yeah.
You really feel it down there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And he was going and he's trying to throw up and I fell over into the bathroom as he's throwing up. And it was good. But the 2 years ago, there was the tropical storm that had just, like, as we're driving there, that tropical storm, I don't remember the name of it.
I don't either.
It's like, was it Isla or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Or Irene? I don't remember, but it had just rolled through in the Panhandle.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were driving there. Yeah. So my wife and I.
What? Don't look at me like that. So you guys drive?
Yeah, we drove separate. So my wife and I, we drove to. It's going to be hard to get past.
You're the one laughing.
Okay, at the time, my wife and I, we drove from Houston to Destin. And we had planned to get a hotel like 30 minutes north.
So and have like an enjoyable night too. Well, New Orleans.
No, that was last year. We stayed in New Orleans last year.
Oh, okay.
That for our anniversary. The year before that, we were going to stay about that town like Crestview or something just north of Destin.
That's where I used to live.
30. Yeah.
Fun fact.
30 mile. Like 30 miles north of Destin. We were going to stay there. I had a hotel booked, and it was like $150 because I bought it well in advance. It was a decent hotel, but that way we could like get up early, get into Destin, have lunch, and beat all that crazy bridge traffic, which is like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's bad.
If you've ever been to Destin, you know the bridge sucks.
It is bad. And you're so excited because you're finally there, and then it's like, not really.
And everybody's trying to take that like detour route, and Dad's like, Waze will help us, and he always ends up getting turned around by police.
Dad did nothing wrong.
No, he didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying he took the wrong...
He's going to be listening to this. I have to make sure whose side I'm on.
Yeah.
You're exposed.
Nick still has a fear for our father.
You're exposed.
I'm not exposed. So anyways, we're driving there. The storm hits as we're going through there. I can't make it because it didn't matter how much progress I made on the highway. We were still 5 hours away. like for an hour.
Yeah, it is.
So
ridiculous.
I stopped somewhere in Mississippi. There was like a Quality Inn, but it's like dumping. It hit before it was supposed to, like a couple hours.
It was bad, too.
Easily like 4 or 5 hours before it was supposed to make landfall. And so we had to stop and get a hotel, and it's flooding. And they had like a few rooms left at like a Quality Inn, and it was not the greatest place. And it was like $400 for the night. They surge rated me, and I'm like, you see, like all these people are coming in trying to get a room, and it's dumping water. They're like, that will be $400.
Yeah,
and I had to pay that because there was no way my wife was going to sleep in the car.
Yeah,
in the
and
truck.
it was bad. Like the weather
And
was
I lost
brutal.
the hotel. I called the Crestview. I was like, hey, I can't make it. There's a tropical storm. They're like, oh, let me check my policy. I was like, once they said that, I knew. I paid $550 to stay at a Quality Inn
Yeah, that sucks.
in like Mississippi.
Nothing against Quality Inn,
It's not worth $550. This isn't a Four Seasons.
especially for one night.
Yeah. I lost I lost a lot of money on that trip.
I would have slept in the car.
I would have.
Yeah. So, anyways, we say the whole tropical storm story.
Oh, yeah, the
because
charter. Yeah, sorry.
we go anytime we go to Destin, we do like a charter fishing. We all like deep sea fishing. And the year we went out for right after the storm hit, there were some wicked swells, some huge swells. I don't even know the actual footage, but it was
raining that morning when we went out.
yeah. And they checked it and they said, okay, it's going to be rough seas.
It's legal,
Yeah,
but
we can go out, but this will not be enjoyable. But we'll catch some fish, but this is not going to be a good time. As we're leaving, catching bait fish, the rest of the boats cancel. We were the only boat to go out that day.
All the people at the marina, everybody
all
left.
quit.
And all the boats were docked. And our captain was like,
Let's
Captain
go,
Dan, baby.
Yeah, let's go. I think there was 12 people who went, right? It was like 10 people maybe. All but 3 ended up violently puking all over that place.
The captain was puking. Remember, he tried to blame it on the casserole from last night. It must have been bad casserole.
I think it had bad lasagna.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At that point, I didn't care
about.
about anything. I was just hurler. Well, it started. Okay, so also let's preface this. 3 of those people served in the Navy, and one of them, 20 years on a sub.
Yeah.
Ralphin. But it started when Grandpa busted out of the
Grandpa was
cabin.
doing great, but then he grabs the bait bucket like he's going to throw up. And that thing smelled so vile that when he put his face in there, it definitely came out. And now everyone's smelling because this is a charting boat. Like there's not a ton of room. You can't just avoid this. Yeah, it's not like they're going to the bathroom to throw up. He's Ralphing 1 foot next to you into a bait bucket, which already smells vile.
His face.
I don't care if you
so pale.
Because I was one of the 3 who didn't puke. Props to me. But
Nick's really killing it this podcast. Nick's really killing it this episode.
I'm saying that because I felt nauseous. Everyone felt nauseous, no matter if you puked or didn't puke. You felt it. It was huge swells.
Grandpa still had a smile on his face the whole time, though. That dude amazes me.
And then Tom looked like he
Tom
looked like Tom looked like he died in war because it's so cold in the cabin and it's freezing cold and he was having a rough time, and we all felt terrible. But he covered up with that poncho. And it looked like an infirmary because he's covered head to toe in this poncho. Is Tom still with us?
He was sitting on the stairs at one point, and then he was just laying on the floor.
You were good, and then
I was good.
I had the GoPro, and I was
Nick was filming everything. That's right.
Yeah.
He would stick it right in your face too. Right when you were not feeling great, Nick would put it in.
When we started talking about Taco Bell.
No, you started talking about refried beans.
I just had this crazy hunkering for Taco Bell refried beans.
At what point did you think that on the boat that everyone's getting sick, you should be vocal about?
It sounded really good.
I've never had a hankering for refried beans.
Yeah, they sounded really good at the time, and I talked to you and you lost it.
It looks like puke, Nick. What did you think?
That's all it took for you, and you were done.
Did you see how green Josh's face got?
And the best part about Josh, who's our cousin, and he was talking so much trash. He was with me. We were talking trash
he was
to
talking
Chad.
smack? I didn't even know that.
Oh, the whole time we were me and him were just ragging on you.
Oh, yes.
Well, there's a picture. We have to post this picture because I'm literally like the swells are so big.
They are massive.
And Chad was puking off the side of his boat, but he wasn't actually. You weren't actually throwing up. You were just dry heaving.
Yes, which is much worse.
Yeah, but you were like full strain, like you have stomach flu, full strain, like every muscle in your like neck and throat is like fully like trying to hurl something. And I'm holding like you by your shirt so you don't fall in the ocean.
I wanted to fall.
That was terrible.
I was done.
But we also.
I had never been seasick until that moment, and it's a horrible. It's an endless feeling. That's
because you're hours out to sea. You're not just getting back on land. Like you can't. You're committed.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So
it doesn't go away.
Yeah. That was one of the most fun times because
Josh's power stance was. That is a great picture.
Yeah. But anyways, I have you like fully by the shirt, like holding you as you're dry heaving
so I
over
don't fall into the ocean. We
still tagged out.
I didn't catch a single fish. I helped Chloe get the bird's nest out of her line.
Dad was great because he was catching massive fish and hurling while he's catching. He was like puking and then going back to reeling.
I felt bad that I didn't have that strength.
You were wrecked though. Like no one was like, we were making fun of it, but no one like was like, oh, how
Jacob was eating a sandwich in front of my face.
Like a turkey and cheese.
I almost killed him. He literally was eating and laughing. Mm-hmm. But then the next trip, he got seasick.
Yeah, next trip he got sick. And yeah, you were letting him have it. Yeah.
It really
once it's set in, you're not getting rid of it.
No.
And that's the word. Like if you haven't experienced seasickness, once it's taken its root on you, it's got you, you're not getting rid of it.
Dennis was sleeping on like the chum box outside. Yeah, everybody had to just like, the captain was puking. There's no way I would have just run us ashore if I was the captain. There's no way I could have.
He was just
I couldn't stand up.
And then you just be driving him.
That dude's a soldier.
He was awesome.
The fact that he took on the perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get some people to tag out their fish because they drove all the way to Destin.
It was great. It was terrible and great.
It was.
I knew it would be a great story for life, but like at the time, it was just everyone was so miserable. It was almost not worth it.
It wasn't worth it, but it was worth it now. It's expensive to do that stuff, so I felt the need to like not just go to sleep, but like ride the side of the boat at least.
Yeah, but the cabin, you couldn't even go relax because the cabin was an infirmary.
And it was so cold. It would set me. I tried to go into the cabin a few times, made it worse. I needed to be out on the boat, just riding it.
What a great time. But that kind of leads us weirdly into our topic, even though
we do have a really
like
cool topic.
Halfway through our podcast today. But
what are we at?
30. Let's have a longer one today.
You blew it up. Now that I'm doing a lot of the editing, it's going to be a much longer one. Okay, so we're going to talk about what
is it? Dead air.
Shut up. Shut up. I needed to collect myself. You threw everything off. You practically heckled me. That's what that feels like.
I haven't got to do it live though. But I've always been supportive in the audience for you when you do your stand-up.
We're going to talk about the Holy Grail of shipwrecks.
Holy Grail.
We're not talking about the Holy Grail. Don't listen to him. We're talking about the Holy Grail of shipwrecks, which I think it just like ran ashore.
Yeah, I think.
Or it sunk for some other reason.
Like weather, bad weather.
Right, exactly. Bad parts.
Especially like the shipwreck we're talking about too is from like Chad. That's how you get on the watch. No, but the ship we're talking about is from like the 1600s, right? 1500s?
Close. 1708. Close, but wrong. Definitely wrong.
But still a masted like sailboat.
Yeah, it's like Master and Commander.
Yeah, so like a big.
It's not a sailboat.
What you think of
it's a galleon.
Like but like a war galleon. It's still masted and still uses
It's a sail
sails.
ship. I think boat. I think like small. Okay, it's the Holy Grail of shipwrecks. And I wrote my own little headline here. This is great. Could have been for the Times. $20 billion sunken treasure ship off coast of Cartagena. Actually, it gives no information there. Bad headline. But it's worth $20 billion discovered off the coast of Cartagena, Colombia.
That was good.
Wow.
Because I would have butchered that. So
right. I'm very familiar with the country of Colombia.
Yeah.
C-O-L-O.
You've been there, though, right? You've been to...
I've spent like 5 months in Colombia at different times.
How's it pronounced?
Colombia.
No, I know that. The
C-O-L-O. What?
No, the Cartagena.
It's like a roll of the R.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Cartagena.
So Cartagena.
It took me a while, yeah. Anyway, 1708, San Jose Galleon led a treasure fleet of 3 warships and 14 merchant vessels from Portobelo, Panama to Cartagena, Colombia. This is from Todo a Babor, all to port. That's the source. This is a Spanish fleet, a treasure fleet. Mm-hmm. Okay? The San Jose Galleon is a 62-gun, 3-mast galleon.
That's a massive ship.
That's a huge
62-gun is a massive, massive war.
I have 1 shotgun.
It's almost. Is that a man of war? Would that be a man of war?
No, that's like that's like a squid, right?
Thank you.
I'm gonna laugh. That hurt my eye to laugh like that.
Yeah, a man of war being a massive war galleon ship of the time. You just looked a little confused for a second.
I'm also familiar with old things, Nick. 200 tons of treasure.
That's crazy.
116 steel chests filled with emeralds, which I'll get to that in a sec, and millions of silver and gold coins. Like,
it's crazy if you look at
millions of coins.
If you go online and look at, because this is a current event right now. Although we're talking, it did happen in 1708.
We're prefacing what happened.
They found it, and if you look online, if you go on Google Images and look at the wreckage, you see all those gold doubloons. They're just at the bottom of this ocean.
Right. So lots of silver and gold and emeralds. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's some other jewels there too.
Oh, and there's like holy. I mean, I think there was like holy artifacts. And
there are artifacts there, yeah. But I don't think that's the rush. I think it's the money.
Well, those artifacts are worth a lot.
Yeah. I mean, on the black market, what are you going to do? I mean, what do you do?
Sell them to the Vatican?
That? Yeah, I guess you could.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, there's going to be buyers for that stuff.
But anyway, it's a whole thing. There's a lot. There's a huge. Right now, we'll jump forward a little bit. Right now, there's a huge race to get it. Mm-hmm. Many countries involved.
Like who?
Planning the excavations. You got Spain, Colombia. I think you've got
the United States, probably.
A Bolivian indigenous group of people, and the United States has a company that claims they found it in the 80s. But we'll get to that in a second. The emeralds, though, I do have an emerald guy.
An actual emerald guy? Like someone you call for emeralds?
Yeah, he's not made of emerald. He's
I know that
you get for. Yeah, you call him for. You say, you got any emeralds? And he's like, yeah. I mean,
did you meet him when you were in Colombia?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's cool.
He's actually really nice.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't know what people picture an emerald dealer to be like, but I wouldn't have thought it would be this guy.
Pretty normal dude.
Yeah, he's in Australia now, though.
No, cool.
I don't know if any of it's legal, actually. I never asked that. I just was like, oh, you're the emerald guy.
Well,
if I ever need an emerald, so, yeah. I was like, my people are from the Emerald Isle.
Yeah.
You know, we got a lot in common.
Yeah, that's Ireland.
That's what I need a sec. You know, lots of stuff on the ship. 200 tons. That's a lot. I would never have thought that a ship.
Yeah, that honestly blew me away because that's just the treasure. That's not even like the cannon, the people, the actual weight of the ship. Like
the power of buoyancy.
Yeah. That's a big ship, though.
That's huge.
How many people were on that ship?
Didn't say. I mean, it probably did, but I don't have it.
I think he said like over 600.
Nick's the researcher. Were you setting me up? Did
no,
you know
I thought
the
you
number?
Knew it.
You could have just said there were X amount of people.
I was like volleyball, like dude, and then you were supposed to spike that. I think there was over 600.
This is an absolute roasting today. Nick's proving that he's the researcher and that I should just sit back down. Okay, not going good for me. So. In 1708, their mission, this treasure fleet, don't you look at me. Don't look at me. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. Look at the wall. The mission, seeking to port in Cartagena to wait out hurricane season before crossing the Atlantic
Smart move, though. To be fair, smart move.
I mean, that's what you do.
How do you not disperse some of this treasure amongst other ships?
That's what I was thinking. There's literally 17 ships.
Yeah.
Unless they had. Think about it. We don't know that the others
that's
didn't 100%.
That's
treasure.
fair, and that is like their main galleon, and so they're probably thinking like no one's gonna mess with us. We have 17 ships in an armada,
but they may have distributed it amongst different ships.
But someone messed with them.
Yes, I was getting to that. Nick's like a teacher that's like helping the child read.
Oh my gosh!
Like you're showing me like, and then the dog pooped. Okay, they were intercepted by British Navy warships. Okay, during the battle. So actually, one of the British Navy warship was huge. It was much bigger, and I don't have the details on that, but it was much bigger than the Spanish galleon. But it took this one. I guess it isolated it and took it head on.
I think it was like a 64
You were telling me that though. 64. So it had 2 more guns. I made it sound like it was triple the size.
No, but this is like their biggest ship versus Spain's biggest ship, and like a mano because when they attacked, that one essentially like went straight on. So they went head to head, and I think they were only just a few like feet from each other, just going full volleys. Right. Of broadside cannon.
Which blows my mind. It's like I always picture like the Revolutionary War. Or like old wars, 1812, whatever, where they're literally standing in a line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just...
Yeah. That would be exhausting. That would be exhausting.
But think of the adrenaline.
Yeah.
Like, what's the tactic?
This one, I mean, you still have to ram, the powder and the cartridge and everything.
I get that.
No, I'm saying, but it's still like an organized event where you have to like volley 64 guns, reload while 64 cannonballs are smashing into the side of your boat.
It's wild. But it took it down because during the battle, the gunpowder stores on the San Jose ignited and the ship exploded. So I guess they were taking on water. So they moved the gunpowder up from the lower levels so that it wouldn't get wet, become useless. And it ignited. Mm-hmm. The British had intended
to take
that, so they knew.
They were like, "Oh no, too much! Back it down."
They knew that this and all this information is coming from like Business Insider, Live Science, Todo a Vapor, and IITV. Mm-hmm. But all the information that I have on it. But how do they know the scope of like this is the ship we need? This is an inside job.
No, 100%. There's a guy on the boat named Edward. My real name's Edward.
Yeah. We've been calling you Eduardo.
I'm actually Bill.
Yeah. It's like, that's not a real mustache.
But yeah, it had to,
to be an inside job. I mean, I think it's plausible. You're talking about
at the time, two of the greatest warring nations, like the English fleet and then the Spanish fleet are notoriously some of the biggest, naval armadas there were.
Right.
And there's a lot of like politics that goes behind why they attacked too.
Yeah. The political state between the two was a great question I asked you to fill in at the proper time. And that is now.
No, so Spain and France were getting buddy.
Spain and France.
Yeah, and England.
They kind of seem similar to each other in culture. They're very different.
And they're right next to each other. And their common enemy is England. And
Nick,
so... No, stop. No, there's a real...
Not like this.
So there was talks of that they were going to marry within the families, and then they were going to put essentially a French blood in Spanish court, which would be very bad for the English, because that would be two of their enemies now aligned. So it's kind of like hey, don't do that. They went and attacked this armada of like...
Wouldn't that make you want to just do it even more?
Yeah, but at the
time,
we're
going to marry him harder now.
Yeah, but you also don't want the English going and messing now with all your French boats, like out of anger, like, hey.
Oh, that's true.
And
and at that time,
that's a lot of gold.
The 18th century, early 18th century, England really was kind of the dominant power.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, and so this was how they kept a lot of that grass, is they would go and wreck. I mean, think of all that gold, what it's worth today, but wars cost tons of money, especially back then.
It was an 18th century Cold War.
And so wars, you know, are so expensive. And then back then, if you couldn't afford to keep supplying your troops, you know,
that's what
building more ships,
for.
building all this, and the gold.
It was for the Spanish king to fund their war.
Exactly.
Their war
so
efforts.
now they're just...
Yeah.
England could have, you know, really gone up, you know, and you know...
Yeah, if they had actually
more.
Successfully taken some of that.
I don't remember which source. I think it was your... you have to say it again. It's the Spanish site.
Todo a babor, which means all to port.
Or if it was Business Insider. But one of them said that the reason it blew up so violently is that the boats are built to withstand attacks from the outside. But because this gunpowder ignited from the inside, it blew up vertically, thus like literally blowing up every deck of the ship from inside out, like vertically.
It imploded almost.
Almost, but it
I know the difference.
No, I'm just saying.
I didn't want you to be like, no, Chad.
No, Chad. I'm not that cruel. I'm just saying
it
like blew up vertically straight up the decks. So like there's no like
a geyser.
But that's all that was weaker wood that wasn't armored to like withstand any kind of like pressure like that. And
it's residential.
It sunk pretty quickly. Yeah. There would be no time to even get over there to get anything.
No, absolutely not. I've been to Cartagena.
Was it cool?
It's actually amazing.
Is it like a big port city or?
Yeah, it's like they call it the walled city.
Oh, cool.
So it's really old school Spanish architecture. Really nice cathedral there. It's a really great city to visit. Not a good beach. So it is on the coast, and I think when we went there for the first time, I thought, you know, this is really cool. We'll go to the beach one day.
No,
not a great experience. Do not go to the beach. Go stay in the walled city. There's another part that kind of looks Miami-esque. It's very modern. It's touristy. Stay in the walled city. That's where all the great stuff is, the great culture, and it gets pretty crazy there.
Do they have like a fort? I mean, is it like a fort at all? Like
it is a fort. There's there's walls and cannons still.
Okay,
there.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing.
It's an old Spanish fort, and yeah, the food. I mean, so they have MasterChef Colombia. Okay.
Dang, that's cool.
You familiar with that? Like MasterChef. Like they have the show MasterChef Colombia. One of like their Gordon Ramsay, his name's Jorge Rausch.
Okay.
Or Rausch. He has a restaurant there.
Did you get to eat there?
We did eat there.
Was it good?
It was really good. It's really fancy white table, like white linen, you know, whatever. My plate was like $16.
Dang. That'd be
awesome.
Nice.
It's really great though.
That's like Mickey D's now. Chick-fil-A for real.
It is. It was like $10 for a meal at McDonald's.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A's it's worth it, but brutal.
Oh my gosh.
To take my family
Cartagena is a great city to go to. Definitely recommend visiting it. But let's jump forward now.
Oh, that's great. That was a solid sound wave.
I'm keeping it. In 2015 now. Okay. We're going to jump back and forth here between the 80s and 2015, but the ship is discovered by Colombia off the coast of Cartagena.
Okay.
And it's 600 meters deep. Said to be worth over $20 billion in gold, silver, and gems, along with the artifacts. U.S., Spain, and Colombia have all made claims to the treasure, sparking a fierce legal battle with diplomatic issues.
Who has like the, I guess, rights to it? Like,
Spain.
Who has the most legal rights?
So due to international, that interestingly enough, that was my next point. So Nick has a natural.
That was a genuine question. It was a genuine question.
You're a liar.
That was a genuine
Nick
question.
researched all this and said, "I'm going to stay one."
No,
I
did the most
my
vague
information.
research. I read your pages one. I read each of the pages you'd said very
Did you
quickly.
like organize it to where you have like one point, like you reveal all my information before I reveal it, like one point at a time? Oh, Jet, tell us about the what's it say about the international? Who's got the rights to it? Spain has the rights because according to international law, the shipwreck and everything on it was in their possession at the time, even if their methods of getting that were not savory.
How'd they get it?
So obviously they were colonizing down in South America, right? Mm-hmm. And there's claims. I say claims because I don't know for sure that it was kind of due to slave labor.
I'd imagine so for 1708 that it was slave labor.
I think there was even claims from some Peruvian, natives and stuff like that. Definitely the, what was it? The Caracara, I believe.
I think that sounds right.
Bolivian indigenous, Colombians had claims that there was like slave labor to mine these precious metals and these jewels out for the Spanish because they were colonizing it and they were just basically taking whatever was theirs.
I generally don't know, so before you go accusing me, is an emerald very big in Colombia?
Emerald is huge in Colombia.
Okay. That
it's obviously, if you don't know, emerald's the green one. Mm-hmm. But it's very popular. It's like very common in Colombia.
So what else? Were they mining other stuff besides the emerald? Because they found a lot of silver and gold. Is that also?
Must have. I mean, obviously, so Colombia is also really where they picture El Dorado. Mm-hmm. Right? The airport in Bogota is El Dorado.
Oh, okay.
So El Dorado, that's Golden City, right?
Okay.
I believe. It's something, obviously.
What's the road to it called?
Oro is gold. What? Nick, just...
The road to El Dorado.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, we're moving on. Done. Okay. 1982. This is where the U.S. gets its claim. Okay, because so far it's like, well, how does the U.S. have a claim? 1982, a company called Sea Search Armada claims that they found it, and they opened communication with the Colombian government at that time, which probably seemed like the right thing to do, but they also probably could have just taken it. Mm-hmm. They could have just said, we found this. But I'm sure that would have sparked a huge... U.S. is kind of like the big brother in a lot of diplomatic issues. So if a U.S. company or whatever goes and just excavates and just destroys artifacts or whatever, we look even worse. And the image for the U.S. is really hard to maintain.
Were they? I don't know, so don't go attacking me. Were they
mad?
Paid by the U.S. government to go look for it at all? Like, or did they get funding? Like, how is the U.S.?
I feel like I'm being quizzed here. No,
all I
did not see that the government had contracted them out to go find this. I say the U.S. has a claim, but really just this company has a claim.
I'm going to look it up.
And they've claimed they want 50% now of the value now. Which is about $10 billion.
Yeah,
but in 82, they opened communication with the Colombian government. Colombia disagreed. They said they couldn't find it in the location that they reported it. Okay, they said, it wasn't there. We looked. And lo and behold, they found it in 2015. Colombia did. And they have quote, shrouded and protected its exact location. So they're not telling anybody now.
Colombia?
Yeah. They said it wasn't where you found it, but we found it 35 years,
they're
30 some years later.
Where it's at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they probably found it.
All right. So I did look it up because I didn't know. They're suing for $10 billion.
That's what I just said. I just said for all the listeners, I said 50%, which is about $10 billion. And Nick's like, I looked it up.
Okay, well, it's not. I had more to say, though.
Fresh news.
They're suing for $10 billion because the original company was called Gloca Morta. And they said it located in San Jose. And then the company that took over Gloca Morta was the Sea Search Armada. There's the ones who are saying, hey, we took it over, so we essentially get that money.
Right.
But
San Jose?
Yeah, it said they located in San Jose, outside? Colombia.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is southwest.
But they handed the coordinates to the Colombian government, which I thought that's a cool move. Right,
but they could have just Colombia been quiet. Said they couldn't find it.
I mean, think about it. Can you see a company doing that today and not just going and taking some of it?
I mean, I think with the crazy political landscape today, it'd be really weird to think that a company would just dig it up, especially
Can
the
they
United
dig it up?
States.
Because is there rights that like protects like like Titanic?
Spain's got the right,
but doesn't like Titanic like technically they're not supposed to like disturb like the grave site of like.
Well, it's after the movie.
But I'm saying like that's a grave site, so I mean
that's true.
Can they go dig it up?
I don't know.
I don't even know.
We'll get to that question in a second. So Colombia has claims the recovery efforts are patrimonial and not for monetary exploit.
Yeah, I believe it.
Lies. No way. It has to be.
There's no way that they don't care about 20 billion.
It's self-righteous. It just doesn't, like, be honest about it. It makes you look.
No one would even care if you're like, hey, there's 20 billion. We need the money. It's down at the bottom of the ocean. No one's using it.
Well, I think you can say both that, like, oh, we want to respect the historical relevance of this stuff and the artifacts, but that's not your only mission. $20 billion is significant.
Yeah, and you got to think they have artifacts, but they probably have like a lot of artifacts from Colombia, like religious artifacts.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so there is value there, but like you're telling me that you're just going to put all the gold in a.
And I'm sure they have artifacts that they would carry to sea, as like, like religious artifacts. So like.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
A lot of them would carry them into battle and stuff, like crusades and stuff, but. Yeah.
The former president of Colombia, Ivan Duque, said the Colombian Navy would guarantee its protection as a World Heritage Site. So they're really protecting this site. They don't want anybody around it.
The Colombian Navy would protect it?
Yes.
Against who?
Invaders.
Which Navy?
No Navy, probably.
I'm
honestly.
surprised. I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised the cartel hasn't already sent people to get it and have already gotten it. And
we'll get to that in a second. Actually, that's interesting you say that. Yeah, that's another point Nick jumped.
I swear. Let
me see here. Oh, yeah, right there.
I swear I don't know.
Yeah. So I'm going to continue on what Ivan Duque said. The idea is to recover. Just black out so I can finish this. Just end it.
Okay.
The idea is to recover and have sustainable financing mechanisms for future extractions. In this way, the treasure, the heritage of the San Jose Galleon, is protected. They're really concerned about the heritage of this thing. I get it, but don't just brush over the topic that like there's $20 billion worth of jewels and gold and silver. Mm-hmm. The Colombian culture minister, Juan David Correa, said history is the treasure. I think the gold, silver, and emeralds are probably the treasure.
20 billion and the 200 tons of treasure is probably the treasure.
I mean, just talk about both. I think by ixnaying one, by just not even talking, well, we don't have gold. We're not,
Yeah,
we're not greedy. We don't want that. That's just disrespectful.
This is really a story about greed.
We want
though.
this.
The whole story is about greed because the Spanish, greedy, definitely used labor that was not appropriate. Using slave labor is cruel. Then they put 200 tons of gold and treasure on one ship, which then slows the ship down so much that the English quickly outflank it, sink it.
Right. Yeah, it had to have been slow as molasses.
Oh, yeah. That's why I couldn't get it. I think the other ships were probably just moving
it's
so
just
much
like,
quicker.
Dragging rudders on the
chucking
ground.
Coins overboard. We need speed.
Well, yeah, I just can't imagine. I think it would be much better if you said, hey, y'all got Spain and whoever else, you guys took advantage of us for a long time. You took this money from our people. It's ours. You want it? Come get it. What are they going to do? Start a war over a $20 billion shipwreck?
No.
I mean, I'm willing to roll a D20.
Yeah, I mean, it's not worth enough to start a war over, but that's why I asked about cartel, because it's worth enough for them to start some stuff.
Oh, yeah,
over.
from all over.
Yeah,
I mean, I would imagine. Well, and in one sec, we'll jump into that. But in 2000, so we're jumping forward to 2018 now, a couple of years. The United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization does not exist. No, I'm kidding. Advised Colombia not to salvage the wreck. The Associated Press reported, said, "Don't salvage it." Colombia says it all belongs to them, and they're going to salvage it. Because they just ignored the advice, which is what you can do with advice, citing that it was resources as a result of slave labor from Colombian and Peruvian mines. Not a good look for the Spanish.
So are they kicking money then to Belize, Peru? Like,
no plans for that.
Yeah,
yet.
see,
not that I know of. But why would they? Because Colombia missed the World Cup last year. So why? Yeah, I mean they got knocked out. Ecuador is not getting anything. I promise you that. I mean, when they missed the World Cup, that was a huge deal for them.
Yeah,
yeah, because they crapped the bed.
Yeah,
they really did. It was bad. We made it,
but Colombia did not.
Which is nuts. Yeah, I had a great time with that. Now, okay, this is where it comes in with you. You keep talking about the cartel. You want to talk, for some reason, you're really into that.
I just like I have no associations with the cartel, but if I was a cartel leader, I'd be like, yo, there's
so
$20 billion
now
in gold.
Says there are 2 cartel podcasters and we're on to them.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're sponsored by Airbus. Yeah. I'm kidding. Colombia stated they urge any salvagers to register their interest in finding it. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go look.
Didn't find anything, boss.
A couple guys washed up on the beach. They had a small submarine with a Logitech controller.
Ocean Gate's just down there like, all right, guys, we got one more shot.
That's what they were really going for.
One more shot of this.
No, I just thought Nicolas Cage is going to show up at the back of the Declaration of Independence. Yeah. Tell him his plan. Why would you tell anybody your plan to salvage?
Why would you tell
So you don't get shot down by Colombian Navy? I get that.
I put this on Colombia. They could have just said nothing and then be like, also, I also put this on the U.S. company because they could have also said nothing, found and be like, hey.
I think they thought this they were doing something appropriate, though, to say, hey, this is also your heritage. This is money from your people. We don't want it all. We just want half of it.
It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission.
But according to Colombia, they were not even in the right coordinates to find this.
I don't believe
There's no way it moved.
I don't believe that because then they would have to admit that the U.S. knows exactly where it's at.
But why wait 33 years?
Because I don't think they either cared or believed or had the technology go do it.
To even go investigate. I mean, it is early 80s. That was probably 600 meters down. That's probably really hard, especially if you don't have like a full-fledged like naval battalion, like, or you have like exploration. You don't have the exploration technology. You're right.
They should get a piece no matter what, because it's like without it, then they would just still be searching. Heck, I don't even know how many,
I
miles.
can promise you they're not going to get a piece, or it's going to be such a long, drawn out, like legal battle that they're just going to drop because you're going up against.
That's worth paying the lawyers.
Yeah, but how long does that drag out? You're going up against an entire country's government. Who even
settles that? Who settles that international dispute?
The Avengers? I don't know. Superman?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's Justice League. I'm aware.
But I just weird play, It would have been so much smarter if he was like, hey, look at all this gold we just brought up. This actually belongs to you guys, so we're going to give you 80% of it.
Yeah, but you destroyed all the artifacts, even if they hadn't.
Yeah, but
you could make outlandish claims. Think about the diplomacy, though. You could make whatever claim you want against this American company, this U.S.-based company, and say you did this and you stole like slave labor gold from us, and then the United States kind of is big brother for a lot of the world.
And we returned 80% of it. We gave you $16 billion you guys didn't have.
And then Spain's like, hey, that was on our galleon.
Yeah, but then they have to admit that they were getting
also
true.
Yeah, they're right. They had made. They have no comment.
Yeah, Spain's like, oh gosh, this is bad timing.
1708, we had in 1708 we had a couple ships down there. We had a few ships, but nothing like that.
Slave labor? Are you sure? Let me
San Jose.
check.
You sure that wasn't?
You guys didn't pay those guys?
That sounds like a Portuguese thing, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
the Spanish and so the Bolivian indigenous. It's Qhara.
Like
I assume that's
Cara.
Cara.
Yeah. I don't know. You would know better.
Nation claimed ownership, citing their people were used to mine the metals found on the ship. Very well could be
just
true.
kick it out evenly.
I think a distribution is great, but that's not how the world works. People just take,
and
they're not going to get a dot. Even if I'm not. I don't know, like the cabinet or like the parliament. Yeah. I don't remember what Colombians, but I promise you, if Colombia takes that up, they're not distributing funds to that.
Yeah, I mean,
they might throw them some bones, but not enough.
But if your whole claim to it, if Spain has the legal claim to it, but your whole claim to it is that slave labor is the reason you should have it, which I mean, they make a very valid claim. But then the other countries who were suffered under Spain, who were involved in this, should have equal claims to it, like Belize and Peru.
Right, because you can't. I mean,
you can't say the reason we get it is because our people were.
But these
exploited.
Are labeled, right? Like you were saying, what are they called? Doubloons? Is that what they called?
I don't know. I just call them doubloons because of like pirate doubloons, like the gold coin.
That's not like a term you found for this exact.
Well, like
treasure?
Doubloons are those gold coins that are like minted like that. But if you look on the website, you could literally see like the Spanish cross. Like it is beautiful, like looking gold coin.
Did they print where it was manufactured though? Or like where it was minted? Sorry.
And so that's what I was asking. So maybe they got the gold from one place and they brought it to smelt it and, do it at another place, which seems very, bad logistically. But, I don't really know the workings right now of, of how they were doing it, but I'm just saying, if your whole claim to it was our people were exploited cruelly by Spain, which they were.
But think about it. They probably mined the metals partially in different countries. I mean, probably then,
you're mining
countries,
raw
but now
gold, but then you have to then smelt it, stamp it, everything.
But they're probably not doing that in the same spot, right?
I don't know. I don't know where they're getting the gold. I mean, remember, Spain colonized so much of South America.
Do you think they were taking this up to the coast of Colombia to smelt it, to stamp it?
It could be. It could have a whole
and then they were shipping it off directly from there?
Maybe.
In a smelting accident. 2024, Colombia is now, this is just a few days, like a couple weeks ago, not even. That's why we're talking about it. They have committed, I thought, an embarrassingly low number, but maybe it's not. $4.5 million this year on expeditions.
That's crazy.
To digging it up. But coined as an archaeological expedition.
See, I think it would be smarter to spend the money now and say, like, look, we spent all this money to get it up.
Well, how much does it cost to do these expeditions? $4.5 million. I mean, maybe that's a huge number for that. Maybe it just doesn't cost that much.
I mean, it has to be expensive though to then drudge something up from the bottom of an ocean.
And that's for the year. They're forecasting. That's less than $400,000 a month for drudging up. You could go down, swim down, and grab a handful.
I don't think you could do that.
I mean, not swim, Nick.
I don't think you could do that at all.
I just hate.
I don't think you can swim down.
But you can't swim. Obviously, you can't swim down 600 meters.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's got to be somewhat expensive to have the equipment to go down. But I still agree with you. 400 million seems like a very low.
$4.5 million.
Sorry, I think you said 400.
4.5 million is super low to me.
See, I think it'd be worth $1 billion worth of investments to go get it, and then you have a bigger claim to it, saying like, "Hey, the reason we even have it up here is because we spent all this money to go get it." But otherwise, I think I think the U.S. company should get a piece of it. I don't think they should get 50%. I think that's
no, because do they even have the capability?
I realistically think
up?
Though when you said that they wanted 50% so that they can argue it down to like 10%.
Right.
Or 5%.
Like I said, do they have the capability of even bringing it up? U.S. company. So say Colombia says, go ahead, it's yours.
Yeah, but then they're just going to go contract. Yeah, but you can contract that out to a company that does salvage shipwrecks.
I didn't look far enough ahead, and I retract my statement.
No, but I'm just saying. Late. I would agree though that you could then go just have someone contracted out to go get it for a piece of the cut. I mean, it's
absolutely.
I think what they realistically don't want to do is share it with Belize and Peru. They're
guarding it. They're not telling people the exact location. They have their warships kind of, I'm sure they're like doing a pattern, but they're not
nuclear submarines underneath just watching those ships like
yeah. Yeah, I don't think they've got any.
Elon Musk has like a new rover to grab it.
He's grabbing coins.
He secretly has these like rovers
that runs the ocean floor.
Yeah, and he's secretly just extracting it.
It's just sucking it like a giant vacuum, pumping it up to Austin.
I do know is like
he lives in Austin,
superhero
right?
villains.
He lives in Austin now, right?
I think so, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure he does. I saw him there.
This would be a perfect plot for like a superhero-esque kind of villain to have like went down and taken all this gold,
like the Incredibles or like some sort of like ridiculous.
Yeah, like oh man, or Despicable Me. That would be a great one.
Sucking all the gold out of the bottom of the ocean.
There's got to be a way to like actually dredge that up, though.
Yeah, you need a really long backhoe.
That would be such a long backhoe. I imagine some kind of like cable system going down with it. But yeah,
I'm thinking maybe, you know what? They probably do a balloon system, honestly. That would rip that thing apart, though. And just.
Like they got Godzilla.
That's right. That's where they did that.
And Godzilla
minus one.
That was a great movie.
It was good.
Although, did you see the stuff too,
where it's like, how long do his legs have to be to stay?
Yeah, that was the other one, though. That was not -1. It was
they're in the middle of the ocean.
No, but he doesn't stand up in that one.
He's standing straight up when he catches the plane in his mouth.
I thought he just like sat up and grabbed it.
He had to have been treading water. That's all I was thinking. But he's not bobbing at all.
But in the other Godzilla movies, he's like straight stand walking. Yeah. And that's where they're ridiculous. Like, whoa.
Didn't make any sense. And he gets on land and it's like, your legs lost like 500 meters.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think they're playing this wrong. I think they're playing this one really wrong.
How would you do it? Final statement.
I would say...
and I guess the question for those listeners is... if you were
Colombia,
the country of Colombia, what would you do? Would you just say, it's ours, we're going after it because you guys used and abused our people, so we're going to go after this gold? Or would you try to be diplomatic about it and make sure it comes up, use people with great resources, and be diplomatic too and respectful to other people? That are probably abused by this as well.
Yeah, I think if I'm Colombia, I say, and I want to override the international law of Spain, I say, hey, all that gold was used with exploited labor. You guys were cruel. You cruelly colonized a lot of these countries. But that would have to be a joint effort with Colombia, Peru, Belize. And I think they split that.
I don't think it's Belize. I think it's Bolivia.
Oh, Bolivia, sorry. So Bolivia.
Belize is like, hey,
yeah. Did you hear that one guy?
Don't forget about us.
We're gonna be hot in Belize in parts of the U.S.
We are not doing good. We are not internationally.
So anyway, I think if I'm Colombia, I say, Bolivia, Peru, get on board because we need to fight.
Yeah, because three countries diving in on that, Spain's gonna be like, I don't remember those.
If I'm the U.S. company, I want 1%. Nothing more. I just want, hey, we're the people that helped locate this. Yeah, we helped locate this. We want something. We want a piece of the pie.
Okay.
And if I'm Spain, I say I want like just our artifacts back. We just want some of the artifacts that like technically are Spain, just to get some of our history back because they did probably lose a decent amount of history there. But they also don't want the like, hey, we want our 20 billion of slave labor back. Because that's not cool.
They don't want to profit off of that.
No, they want enough back where they could have some holy artifacts, some relics, some stuff from 1700 Spain back.
Say the U.S. company gets 1%, $200 million. What is that taxed? How is that taxed? I don't know. Archaeological is that got that?
I don't know because
40% you want or what? What's the lottery tax like 50, 60?
Yeah, I don't know because I don't know if you can just put that in a museum as like a like if I find an artifact.
How do you ball out then?
Because you still own it. Like when I put a piece in a museum, I'm still the owner of it, but I've donated it to like the Smithsonian to put in their museum so people can see it. I don't know the laws on that, man.
I don't know how any of this works. I think that Colombia is going to go in. They're going to hack into the international law and they're going to just delete it really quick.
Yeah.
And Spain's going to be like, it was here a week ago.
I want to know the one dude who shot that last cannonball. It's like, yeah, direct hit. And then it just... and then
we were supposed to board it.
Yeah, we were Stones Hard Gold, you idiot.
That's our gold, isn't it? Yeah.
You had one job. Aim higher. You sunk it. No awards for him.
Yeah, because they effectively failed.
Well, the commander got knighted.
Worst case, he what?
He got knighted.
He lost $20 billion.
But he sunk their pride and joy. Like at the end of the day, it's embarrassing to Spain.
Fair point. It is embarrassing, and they lost all that money.
Yeah, like England didn't get it, but more importantly, Spain didn't have it.
And the artifacts as well, Nick. That's the most. The history is the most.
The important. History, not the gold.
Yes. I think if Colombia just addressed it and said, "Hey, we're interested in all of it," people would respect that more.
Yeah.
Why not? It's real.
Yeah, I think
just
be
realistic and honest. I think when people dance around the truth, it just comes off disingenuous.
It does, and and honestly, I think their biggest person to worry about would be the cartel because they have the money to invest in a company to go try to find something like that.
Right, and they want them to register. I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, just come on down in the office. Put your name, your social, everything. You just put it down on paper.
Put the thumb there.
Say, hey, I'm going to go grab the $20 billion in gold.
What they should do is cartel members welcome.
Yeah,
and then arrest all of them once they register.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either, but.
I mean, there's U.S. cartel, too.
Yeah.
That's rough.
McDonald's?
They're
probably a U.S. cartel. They kill more people than anyone.
The fast food chain? How did you stretch that?
Oh, we'll have to cut that.
Do you remember? Well, we're definitely not getting sponsored by the Golden Arches. That's for sure. We're going to have to eat Burger King forever.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a little BK.
No, I'm not doing it. I'll do
flame broiled, baby. Flame broiled.
It's like wet grilled. That's what that means, Nick. Wet grilled.
Oh, man.
Do you know that's what flame broiled means?
No,
it doesn't mean that at all. That's flame boiled. It was a play. Forget it. Anyway, what would you do if you were the country of Colombia?
Grab that gold and run.
I'm asking the audience. They didn't say anything back.
But yeah, we have a couple more cool episodes coming. We've been
I don't know what's
plugging
next.
away.
I don't know what it is. I know we have a few things in the hopper, so we're really excited to jump into the next one. And we might actually get to an intro that I've prepared, and that will be fun. And
I think we like this setup though, where you present and I interject.
You know what? Tonight, I actually hate this setup. I don't like looking.
We're probably not even going to keep this one. That's what sucks. This is my best run.
You serious? We're not keeping this?
No, I'm saying you're probably going to try to. You're probably trying to
Nick,
get this one shut down.
Getting to actually record is like striking gold. So I'm keeping everything.
All right. Well, I'm good. Are you good? All right.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
This was a 10 out of 10.
Why would you say that?
10 out of 10 podcast tonight.
You almost blacked out.
Almost. I did black out right before we started because we had to delete that one.
You ever thought about like what happens if you like just
die?
No, not die. I mean, well, maybe.
Yeah.
No, I mean like you black out. I gotta hop around all these cords.
I'll come back too.
And like
you just gotta give me time.
Do I stomp your chest? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
If it's been a little bit, just come sternum rub me.
That's it. What about pulling your beard?
Won't feel it. I don't feel anything when I'm out.
Like Three Stooges, take your hat and like knock on your
Stern
head.
rub I'll eventually start feeling, but yeah, just make sure I don't hit my head. I'm good. If I hit my head, then yeah, you can call Sky in here ASAP.
That's where we got all the foam.
Yeah.
We bought all that to put up.
No, it's just a protective
now it's just a
piece.
stack.
Now I just fall this way.
Anyway.
But,
all right, good.
See you, bud.
Have fun.